But tonight is a day when we want to focus on that event that has created history. Triple Talaq, in fact, or instant triple talaq to be more specific, is now history. In a landmark judgment, the Supreme Court, by a 3-2 verdict, has set aside the controversial practice. Let's tell you the big takeaways. The Supreme Court striking down instant triple talaq, which means that triple talaq is illegal, and the court ruled it unconstitutional. So it's illegal, it's unconstitutional, it is against the basic tenets of Quran. In fact, one of the judges, Justice Joseph, said it had no space in Islam whatsoever. The Supreme Court says that since triple talaq was also bad under Sharia, it is bad under the law of the land. The majority verdict said triple talaq doesn't come under Article 25, freedom to practice religion. 3 judges against triple talaq, 2 wanted Parliament to pass the law. Let's take a look at how this historic judgment unfolded and what it really means.
A much-awaited moment of victory for 9 crore Muslim women living in the shadow of the 3 dreaded words: Talaq, Talaq, Talaq. The apex court struck down the sexist medieval triple talaq practice, terming it bad in Sharia and hence bad in law. A 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court, headed by Chief Justice Khehar, struck down triple talaq, declaring it unconstitutional, but the ruling was far from unanimous. Chief Justice of India JS Khehar and Justice Abdul Nazir were not in favor of declaring the practice unconstitutional, saying that triple talaq is integral to Islam and not in violation of fundamental rights. The 2 judges also directed the centre to frame an appropriate law to end triple talaq within 6 months. But the majority of the judges stood firm. Justices Nariman, UU Lalit and Joseph said that triple talaq is against the basic tenets of Quran and violates Sharia.
Is that by a majority of 3-2, they have outlawed triple talaq. Triple talaq is now invalid in India.
अगर हम मजहब की बात करते हैं तो हम मजहब में वही चीजें फॉलो करेंगे जो हमारा मजहब कहेगा. जो चीज मजहब कह ही नहीं रहा है तो वो चंद सोसाइटी जबरदस्ती पूरी कम्युनिटी पर थोप नहीं सकती.
Everyone has agreed that triple talaq is to be excluded from the scheme of things as far as Islamic matrimonial and personal law is concerned. Now, those of us who were saying that this is not part of Islam, this is not part of the Quranic system, would be vindicated.
Large number of Muslim women who believe in Islam, they will find that whenever a divorce is pronounced, they will consider themselves divorced. So what will happen to those Muslim women who are in great and large number?
As women hailed the verdict, centre maintained that its stance on ensuring women's empowerment had been vindicated, a claim that the opposition negated.
Today I wish to congratulate all my sisters who fought for it, and our government, the way we have supported their cause.
It's a good judgment, and we recognize the fact that such a practice should not be continued. That was a view that we even projected in court. But the great victory is the fact that now personal laws cannot be tested on the anvil of the Constitution. And the other 2 forms of triple talaq have not been interfered with.
The Supreme Court has indeed struck down the practice of triple talaq, or as it is called, talaq-e-bidat. But what needs to be seen in the coming time is that are there any penal provisions that the Parliament will ensure are made to make sure that practices like triple talaq are no more used. What is the immediate fallout of this verdict is the fact that this form of divorce enjoys no legal. But what is still remaining is that what is the punishment to those people who continue to practice and indulge in triple talaq, because essentially it's a matter of faith and belief. With camera person Ritesh, this is Anusha Soni for India Today.
Let's turn to my newsmakers then. Right at the top, Ravi Shankar Prasad, Union Law Minister, joining me along with Salman Khurshid, amicus curiae in the case in the courts. Ravi Shankar Prasad, let's turn to you first, because the first question I want to ask you is, in your view as Law Minister, the significance you believe of today's judgment. What will it really mean for constitutional rights of women and personal laws?
I think it is a very profound statement in quest of gender justice, gender dignity and gender equality. And today is the day not only to celebrate the judgment as a historic, today is the day also to compliment the courage of Muslim sisters, women who has been fighting for this cause. And this is a very profound statement of emerging India, where 3 judges have clearly held that triple talaq needs to go.
You know, it's interesting you're saying Muslim women of India, because there is a section of your party which seems to be claiming victory today. Is it a victory for the stand the Narendra Modi government took in court, or is it a victory for the brave Muslim women who stood up to their clergy, or both?
Today I will not talk in terms of victory or defeat. I will talk it in terms of a great milestone in the quest of gender parity, a great initiative in the quest of gender dignity. How can you countenance in 2017 a scenario that by SMS, by WhatsApp, by a letter, and speaking a little funny manner, even on your channel anyone can communicate talaq, 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 and the matter ends? And therefore the Supreme Court has rightly noted Shami Khatun case of 2002 and state of UP, that even as per Quran, a talaq must be preceded by a reasonable cause, and there must be an attempt for reconciliation, for which one, I would say, representative from both sides be appointed. And if they fail to effect a reconciliation, only thereafter talaq must be ordered. A whole mechanism giving due dignity to both the individuals is there. Here, without a cause or provocation, therefore they have rightly held it to be arbitrary. And the other judge has noted the argument of the counsel for the minority community that it is sinful also. But I'm on a larger issue, and the larger issue is what? A quest for a better gender respectful India. And therefore you may have seen I have been articulating from day one, and the government of India's position has also been the same, namely, we don't see in terms of faith, in terms of religion, in terms of worship.
Mr. Prasad,
see purely in the context of gender justice, equality and dignity.
You know, you've used the word gender justice about half a dozen times in the last 2 minutes. I just want to understand, therefore, should today's judgment trigger off a wider debate, perhaps, on a uniform civil code based on gender justice, equality across religions? Is that what you see now as the next step?
Rajdeep, I did not say that. Today the Law Commission is examining the issue of uniform civil code. Thousands and thousands of people have given their representation of all the community. Many are for it, more are for it, many are against it. Let the Law Commission take a call, thereafter we will like to forge a political consensus. But this observation of mine is basically related to triple talaq.
But what is your view? I want to understand your view as the Law Minister, Mr. Prasad, because it's your party in your manifesto in the past that has pushed for a uniform civil code, that is today celebrating this step taken by the court. Am I now going to see you pushing for a wider uniform civil code requiring reform in all communities, not just Islam?
I have already told you, Rajdeep, why you are provoking a debate on triple talaq to uniform civil code, I fail to understand. We have set up, it's a part of our manifesto, we have denied, but we have laid down a roadmap for it. The Law Commission is indulging a widest consultation possible. Thereafter, the Law Minister, I will try to have consent and consensus of all the political parties. Now you want me to articulate on Rajdeep Sardesai what is my view, okay? So that the entire attempt gets frustrated.
Sir, I don't want on a historic day like today this to become a tutu mem. I raised a question and let me take that to Salman Khurshid. First, Mr. Khurshid, as the amicus curiae in this case, would you agree this is a day of celebration both for Muslim women, women in general, and dare I say the Modi government which stood by them in court?
What about men? I mean, there are men who are celebrating as well. I mean, I'm sure that you would count me amongst those who are celebrating. because what we said to the court has been largely accepted. So I think that government can take credit if it wants, but the government wasn't there except to give a moral support on, I can't really say on what grounds, but I don't think that the government actually understood what the real cause was and what the real case is. But be that as it may, I'm very happy that we've all been successful.
You know, what I want to know from you, would a Congress government in 2012 have gone to the court with an affidavit saying triple talaq should be made illegal like the Modi government did? Remember, this is the Congress party, Mr. Khurshid, which reversed, in a sense, the Supreme Court verdict in the Shah Bano case. Today, the BJP has gone ahead, endorsed the stand against triple talaq. Is there a distinction that I can clearly draw?
Well, the reasoning in Shah Bano is entirely different, and I think, and you are familiar with law, if you go through the longish judgment that's been given, you would see the vast difference. There is, in this case, there's an endorsement of Islam, an endorsement of pristine form of Islam, and a removal of the aberrations and the adulteration that had crept into it. That's what this judgment has done. It was entirely different from Shah Bano.
But you are not just a jurist, you are also a congressman. I'm asking you today, the political question, did the Congress miss an opportunity? Today the BJP is the party that is looking like a champion of women's rights.
Well, I don't think that the story ends there. Women's rights are far more than the issue of talaq. There are some horrible things happening with Hindu divorces, and I don't see the BJP has taken any interest in that at all. Today, the Congress party has officially and formally welcomed this as a progressive step, as a remarkable good step in the better understanding of Islam.
But there will be those, Mr. Khurshid, who will say this is too late in the day. Some would have said this should have been done much earlier, that triple talaq should have been struck off much earlier.
Well, I mean, there are many things that happen late in the day, but the point is that there is an appropriate time. Why didn't the Supreme Court do this 30 years ago? It's the same Supreme Court. Why didn't it do it 30 years ago?
Because
Matters
parties like you are not letting them.
Earlier. And then let's not forget the Delhi High Court did this 10 years ago. Justice Badr Ahmed's judgment is an outstanding judgment that did this long before the Supreme Court even handled it. So to say that this should have been done earlier or this should be done later, I don't believe that's a very persuasive argument.
Let me ask you the contentious issue. Do you believe that this judgment, I asked it to Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, will now spark off a larger debate on the need to look at personal laws more closely, possibly codify them, ultimately lead to some kind of a uniform civil code?
I'm not saying that this judgment may necessarily point in that direction, but this judgment is a significant judgment. It's a significant judgment because I hope it will set aside all kinds of speculation that there is about Islam. Some of it is very motivated and deliberately pushed through in the public domain. But independent of this, codification is a separate issue. And codification is not necessarily the same thing as a uniform civil code. And a uniform civil code is not necessarily the same thing that many people assume that it would be the Hindu code. It could be the Muslim code. I mean, if talaq is the right form of divorce to be given, there may be many Hindus and Christians and others saying, well, if you're giving us a common code, give us the talaq code that's available for Muslims. So I think let's not jump the gun and claim that this is showing the way towards uniform civil code. And I don't think the judges would have wanted that either.
Okay, appreciate your joining us. Salman Khurshid, amicus curiae in the triple talaq case. Ravi Shankar Prasad, a day for you to smile, sir, the law minister of the country. I want to raise certain big questions today and widen this debate. Has the Supreme Court today taken a decisive step in divorcing law from religion? Is this a victory really for the women who fought talaq, or for the government, or for both? Will Muslim women who face instant triple talaq now truly get protection from the law? Has the time come to push for a wider debate on a uniform civil code? My guests tonight include Noor Jahan Safia Niaz, petitioner in the triple talaq case, co-founder of the Bharatiya Muslim Mahila Andolan, Asauddin Owaisi, MP and President of the AIMIM. Javed Akhtar, lyricist, is joining me. Aishwarya Bhatti is an advocate and Supreme Court member, BJP Legal Affairs. and Kamini Jaiswal, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court. In my studio, Vasundhara Pathak Masudi, who's also been fighting this in the courts. Appreciate all of you joining us. I want to go first to you today, Noor Jahan ji. आप मुझे आज smile दीजिए और कहिए, what does this day mean from you? What does today mean for you as the co-founder of the Bharatiya Muslim Mahila Andolan?
It is a big day for BMMA, definitely.
Right. Well, we'll try and come back to you. We are having some problem with your source, but I can sense that this is a historic day for you. Asauddin Owaisi, will you concede that today is a historic day for the Muslim women and women in general?
Well, I don't know what you mean by historic, because in 2002 in Shamimara the same judgment was given. The same thing was said, that it will be called unconstitutional if there was no just cause and it was not preceded by arbitration. We didn't, you know, the constitutional bench itself did not have unanimity. So this is a very contentious issue.
No, it's a contentious. Do you agree it's historic?
Time will only tell how this judgment would be implemented.
No, time will only tell how will this judgment will be implemented.
Historic in what way?
No, it's historic because it has clearly established that Article 25, freedom for religion, and I'm quoting from Rohinton Nariman's majority judgment, Article 25, freedom to practice your religion, is in a sense subject to Article 14 and 15 and the right to equality. Do you concede that to that extent today it is a big victory for gender rights? Yes or no? The Muslim clergy and those who claim that religion is above law must now take a back step.
Well, Rajdeep, you have talked about Justice Nariman's observation. I am of the opinion, may I submit respectfully,
yes,
that if that is implemented, what he is saying, we are opening a Pandora box, because please understand that the customary laws of tribals, Nagas and Mizos are constitutionally and legislatively recognized. Now tomorrow BJP will go to court and say, no, this should be assessed against Chapter 3. So what are we heading towards? We are heading towards Hindi, Hindutva, Hindustan. That is the only manner in which I will be able to marry, divorce or adopt. So that is why I am saying this year opening a can of worms. And I was hearing what Ravi Shankar Prasad has said.
Yes.
I mean, how can the law minister mislead the nation while talking to you? Not a single point of BJP has been accepted by the court. The then Attorney General stood up in the court and said, our government wants the court to say that all forms of Muslim divorce is unconstitutional. The court did not accept that. You know, let me quote you, page number 97 judgment. Mukul Rohtgi said, constitutional morality, gender equality, gender equity. We don't find this mentioned in the judgment itself.
No,
so
the
court was not bothered with what BJP was saying, or the government was saying. And now you have Ravi Shankar Prasad and Rajdeep, please. And the last point which I want to make, this judgment which has come will lead to more abandonment of Muslim women. You would say, no, they are being divorced, that is an abandonment. Rajdeep, you must understand that in the Hindu marriage law, you have a legislative procedure. Despite that legislative procedure, you have highest number of Hindu women who are being abandoned.
That is a bad reason not to have a legal architecture.
Of Muslim women.
Just
and it
because,
is a fact.
You know, you are now throwing the bogey that is triple talaq.
Rajdeep,
no, but that is a
Rajdeep. No,
at least today,
Rajdeep,
at least on this day, concede that women have been provided a legal protection.
I don't care what you mean today. No, I don't care. Doesn't matter. That doesn't matter what is today, what is tomorrow. Every day is important to me for my life.
Yes.
I am telling you 6 months from now.
Yes.
I don't want you to call me on your channel and discuss this same issue. Let us see, you don't call me. You call it historic, right?
Yes.
Let us see how this judgment will be implemented on the ground.
Okay, let's come to that.
I don't want you to call me after 6 months on this same issue.
1 minute. You know, you're now raising the bogey of implementation. Let's come to that. Because, you know, you've changed the goalpost now and said, how will it be implemented? Noor Jahan Safia Niaz, Congratulations, you are the petitioner. Tell me, here is Asad Owaisi first thing saying, how will it be implemented? How will this judgment be implemented? What would you like to tell him today?
The judgment is paving the way for legislation, and it is the legislation that we need to move forward. A judgment is for particular victim, the set of victims who have approached the Supreme Court for addressing the issue. The Supreme Court has termed it as unconstitutional, and that is the job of the Supreme Court. It cannot do more than that. But it is also saying that it has to be legislated. We need to have a codified personal law for the Muslims for this country, just as the Hindus
so
have.
It's the first step.
Just as the Christians have, just as the Parsis have. We do not have the luxury of a codified personal law, and that is the first step from now on that we all need to take towards. And at that point of time we will need to worry as to how this legislation will be implemented, what will be the rules formed, and how will we take this to the people. And that is what we need to worry about. Okay,
let me take that also to Javed Akhtar. Javed Akhtar Sahab, as someone who over the years has championed gender rights and has taken on the clergy, do you believe today is a day to celebrate, or do you believe today is a day when again we will have the likes of Asauddin Owaisi saying, look, this judgment can't be implemented on the ground?
Well, as usual, I disagree with Mr. Owaisi, with all due respect. But the fact remains that this is the first step towards the right direction. This is, you have not reached the destination. He's quite right when he says, and we must believe that there will be a lot of chaos on the ground level, because people will, even now, when the court has passed this, they will indulge in instant divorce, and obviously the Maulvi will support this, at least in a clandestine manner, will support this institution as long as they can help it, because they are pro-men. They are not afraid of Allah, they are afraid of men. So they will do it, that's a fact. But as a matter of fact, the next step, logical step, we have moved in the right direction. The next step should be to criminalize instant divorce. The government should pass, the parliament should pass this law. There should be an act that you cannot divorce a woman like that. That's not possible. And if you do it, and if it is proved that you have done it, you better be ready for certain legal steps against you. That has to be done. Otherwise, they will keep on indulging in it. There is no doubt. I quite agree with him. If Mr. Owaisi has such low opinion of men of his community, then who you and me are to disagree with him?
Okay, can I just get Mr. Owaisi to respond to that before I widen it? That you have such a low opinion of the men of the Muslim community that you believe that as a result of this court ruling, Muslim men will abandon their women. What does it say? What does it say, Mr. Owaisi?
Exactly, because you have in Hindu marriage law, there is a legislative procedure. Has that stopped Hindu abandonment of women? No. You have highest number of Hindu women who are abandoned. And one is unfortunately living in Gujarat, which no TV channel wants to go and interview and ask, do you want to return to your husband?
No, hold on. You're now bringing in Narendra Modi into this debate and his relationships. I am asking you a simple question. Do you believe that a law should be progressive or not? Do you believe today's judgment is at least giving the Muslim woman some level of empowerment? Why are you denying it to her? That's my question to you, Mr. Owaisi. As Javed Akhtar says, do you have such a low opinion of Muslim men that they will abandon their women now?
Well, I am reflecting a reality, and I don't want to make any personal comments against Mr. Javed Akhtar. Otherwise, the debate will go somewhere else. Because there are so many things which one can say, but let me stick to the topic.
You are most
welcome. The topic is about this, and we know what...
No, please go ahead.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to stoop down to your level. I don't want to stoop down to your level, Mr. Javed Akhtar. I know,
you have already done it.
Keep it at that level.
You have already done it.
Let us raise the level of debate, gentlemen. Let us raise the level of debate. let us raise the level of debate, gentlemen. Please, on a day like today, let us focus on what the law said. Mr. Owaisi, Javed Akhtar made a comment, and I want Javed Saab you to respond. Mr. Owaisi, in a sense, claims he is reflecting a reality. Is there a reality today that this Supreme Court judgment is in a way ignorant of? In constitutional terms, yes, it has empowered the woman, but will the Muslim woman out there really get empowered today as a result of this judgment?
It is a step. I'm saying it is one step towards that direction. It is not the destination. One. Besides that, I think Owaisi Sahab is confusing two things. One, what is the right principle? Two, how to implement it. I am willing to accept that there will be a lot of complication or there will be problems in implementing that. But as a matter of fact, there is implementing any law is a problem. Any law in the world. So it doesn't mean that you should not make right laws. We are not discussing the implementation at the moment. In theory, in theoretically, in philosophy, in morality, this step is right or wrong. That is the question at the moment. How it will be implemented? As a matter of fact, we expect Mr. Owaisi to help in this matter because he seems to have some influence on certain segments of the Muslim community. So he should tell them that please don't abandon your women like that. Instead of saying they will do it, why don't you use your power or influence in a positive manner?
Can I before I take it to the women today who are the truly deserving of celebration, let me one more time try you, Mr. Owaisi. At least on moral grounds, do you accept that today's majority judgment is a step forward? There's a morality question. A woman is abandoned on the basis of talaq, talaq, talaq. Do you concede that morally that was wrong? We will not go into the other triple talaq forms of triple talaq, but instant triple talaq, do you concede today was morally repugnant?
Well, Rajdeep, the Muslim Personal Law Board in Supreme Court have already said that divorcing a Muslim woman through triple talaq or talaq-e-bidat is sinful. This practice we should leave. But as a matter of fact, also the Hanafi fiqh allows it. And the Muslim Personal Law Board is doing a campaign, not from now, but everywhere, every parts of India. You know, so this has to, and you call it historic day, good luck to you. I don't want you to call me 6 months from now, because please remember, you have law against child marriage, and you still have 1 crore Hindu girls at the age of 15 getting married. And this government, which talks about empowerment, goes to Supreme Court and says that if a 15-year-old girl gets married, it's not rape. It is a dowry act, you know, and then you dilute 498A IPC. In which world are we living? You know, have some connection to the ground. I am reflecting the ground reality. And the last point, Rajdeep, you talk about triple talaq. Show me by empirical evidence. Triple talaq is minuscule. Even the lady representing Bharatiya Muslim Mahila, they came out with their own findings. Not even 1% gave triple talaq through SMS or through internet.
Even if there is one woman, Mr. Owaisi, even if there is one woman who is divorced through an SMS, that should be seen as morally repugnant and now as legally repugnant. But the points you make, I want to take forward to the women. Kamini Jaiswal, you're hearing Asauddin Owaisi. He is saying this law, in a sense, may all be very well today. It cannot be implemented. How do you respond?
Listen, law is all very well. I congratulate the women who took up this issue, and I really, 3 hats off to them that they took on everybody and they took up this issue. The law is a great step forward, but unless the mentality of the men changes at the ground level, you will not be able to implement any law. You have to change the mentality and also make it there, let there be a penal provision that if it is found that somebody has done this to his wife, there should be penal consequences.
So it should be criminalized.
Talk of those penal consequences.
So it should be criminalized. In your view, Kamini Jaiswal, it should be criminalized through legislation.
Yes.
Okay, so the next step...
No, in fact, even the minority judgment talks of legislation. I hope the BJP government within 6 months will come with the law.
Okay, we hope that that will happen, but Vasundhara Pathak Masudi respond also to the other point being made today by the likes of Mr. Owaisi, that this concerns only a minority, a small segment, less than 1% of Muslim women are affected. The majority will remain the same. How do you respond?
Well, if it's a minority versus majority concept, then we should also take into account how many murders do take place in India in comparison to how many thefts are committed in India. Like we have a law for murder. So it's not like that murder is taking place every moment, every hour, every day. It's not like that. Minority versus majority crime. Will things change
on the ground?
Absolutely. I must tell you, Rajdeep ji, it's a phenomenal, it's a monumental, it's a revolutionary judgment with regards not only to Muslim women.
If I'm a poor woman today in an Aligarh or a Deoband, under the influence of clergy, will this judgment empower me?
Absolutely. Let me just complete.
Yes.
It's not only important for Muslim women because it has far-reaching effects. Because if you see that this particular judgment goes on to establish and consolidate a fact, more fortifyingly, that women no more under the garb of religion can be oppressed, exploited and suppressed. Now when we talk about religion, this practice was never a part of a religion. It is a distorted version of religion.
Let me
it's
take
a
that to
concoction
Javed
of religion.
Akhtar. Javed Akhtar, do you believe that therefore women will be empowered? Do you see women actually today being empowered? Do you see change in the air? Javed Saab, do you really see change in the air? Or will the likes of Mr. Owaisi come to my program and say, I will see you 6 months from now?
No. Well, at the cost of repeating myself, I'll say that yes, it has made a change. But this change, we can't be relaxed and we can't start celebrating that now everything is hunky-dory. This envelope has to be pushed and constantly pushed to an extent where it really becomes a ground reality. I agree with Mr. Owaisi again that tomorrow things are not going to change on ground. But everywhere, first you change the law, you change the accepted morality of the society, and then gradually it sinks in. The day slavery was outlawed in USA, the day segregation was outlawed in on the basis of race, everything had not become all right. But gradually it seeps in. So this is a first step. This is one step in the right direction. Now, accepted that there will be problems, but let's not celebrate the problem. He is saying that there are crores of young girls in Hindu community who are married before they are 15 or they are 16 or 18, whatever. They are not adults legally. Agreed. So are you suggesting that because of that, this law should not have been made? Or you are saying that the law is not implemented properly, it should be implemented. Why are you against the law? You should be bothered about the implementation. But when you are against the law, it means you accept and you appreciate and you want to protect a wrong practice. If you are against the wrong practice, you say it is not enough to make the law, we have to do many more things. You are saying because you have to do many more things, don't make the law. What kind of a logic is this?
Can I test you one more time, Mr. Owaisi? One more time, let me test you. Do you at least agree that the law now, as per majority judgment, is the right law for the country? You are a barrister at law. You have studied the law. I am asking you, forget your political garb for a moment. Do you at least concede that today?
Well, let me reply to Mr. Javed Akhtar, who's cut off from the ground reality. And that is that if you have laws and judicial pronouncements cannot bring in change in the society. The society at large first will have to accept the change, and then only the laws will be respected. When was the Child Marriage Act made? 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago? And then you still have 1 crore of girls getting married. And the government of the day is forced to go to court and say that a 15-year-old girl getting married will not be called a rape. My point over here is that judicial pronouncements and laws will not have the desired effect. And who will bring in? Is it Mr. Javed Akhtar? I will request Mr. Javed Akhtar to please go along to all parts of India and give your wisdom. Maybe by his saying, I'm sure people will change.
No,
please,
Mr. Owaisi.
Please try, Mr. Javed Akhtar.
Mr. Owaisi.
Please come out of your comfort
Mr.
zone.
Owaisi, then you should have changed.
No, listen to me.
Mr. Owaisi, the clergy did not change. The Muslim leadership of the country did not change. That's why the Supreme Court stepped in. Why did the Supreme Court have to step in? If the Muslim Personal Law Board, if the community had changed,
I will tell you. I will listen to me. Rajdeep, how did this matter come to Supreme Court? It was Justice Dave, while hearing a Hindu girl's petition, at the end of the giving judgment, he turned it into a suo motu motion. You know this fact.
The fact is that there are ladies like
and why did the two judges say? Why did the two judges say? Why did that? No, listen to me. Why?
It's like first
why did the two judges say
and then stop the
accept triple talaq? There is no unanimity in the Supreme Court bench. It is a contentious issue. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be that we have given a judgment. It's going to cut it off. And I'm warning you again that this will open a Pandora box. Tomorrow, the Nagas and the Mizo constitutional guarantees will be assessed in part 3. And here is the question. This would lead to a Hindu Rashtra in India. I am not trying to create a fear. This is what the BJP government wants. This is what this judgment will enable.
No, to say that this judgment will create a Hindu Rashtra is, I think, going well ahead of ourselves. We'll come back to the Uniform Civil Code in a moment, but a quick response, Vasundhara, very quickly.
Yes.
What do you want to say to Mr. Owaisi?
No. See, there is a concept which is forthcoming from this entire discussion. It's with regards to the implementation of the law. So should we say that first let there be rapes and then let the rape take place and only after that we have more effective laws to stop it? No, it's not like that. Earlier we were not ready to accept that instant triple talaq was not the part of a Quran. Now today Supreme Court having come up with the judgment declaring it unconstitutional, now we are again hiding our faces behind the bushes, seeking refuge under the garb of it's being implemented or not being implemented.
I just want to understand, because today you have made
we have been saying that let there be a criminal. You remember, Rajdeep ji, on your show only, few months back we discussed at length that first of all we have to draw a discussion between instant triple talaq and other forms of talaq. And then we also said that there must be a criminal provision. There must be provision for imprisonment in case a person goes out to pronounce the instant triple talaq in order to implement it effectively. So these are the things which has to go in conjunction with each other, not in isolation.
Let me take a break. When we return, let me return to the critical issues. Has this opened a Pandora's box? Has this judgment opened a Pandora's box? Or has it really triggered a possibility of a wider debate on uniform, gender-friendly laws in this country at the Supreme Court? Triple talaq or instant triple talaq being declared unconstitutional. Now, Mr. Owaisi before the break said it opened a Pandora's box. Let me take that to my panelists, including the lady who's not been able to speak so far. Aishwarya Bhatti, you're an advocate, Supreme Court member, BJP Legal Affairs Cell. Does the BJP feel that a Pandora's box has been opened? Do you believe that this will now lead to greater debate on a uniform civil code? Would you like to see that happen?
Well, Rajdeep, I can't really speak for the BJP, but definitely it is a pathfinder judgment for women especially. We can't rest on our laurels, but today I'm extremely proud of my Supreme Court. The language is very telling in the majority judgment. They have found this to be manifestly arbitrary. That's how Justice Nariman's judgment describes it. Justice Korean Joseph is also completely, he's unequivocal in disagreeing with the Chief Justice and Justice Nazir, and going on to say that this practice, which is anti-Quranic, cannot be supported under Article 25 of the Constitution. Of course, we can't rest on our laurels, but see what is banned here. It's not just that 1% women were facing that. It was the fact that so many women were under the fear of this. And Justice Nariman says that a capricious practice which allows men to whimsically divorce their women is completely against the tenets of the Quran, which requires conciliation and arbitration and some mediation to happen before divorce happens. Now, what was happening after triple talaq?
Right.
If husband woke up in the morning or decided that, oh, I gave that triple talaq in heat of the moment, he is not allowed to go back to his wife or take his wife back in. What happens then is that the wife has to undergo something else, which is called halala. So she gets married to somebody else. that marriage has to be consummated and then she has to be divorced.
Those are exceptional,
nothing but
let's not mislead our audiences. Let's not mislead our audiences by mixing triple instant talaq with halala. These are different practices.
Even halala is not a valid practice in Islam.
Let me focus on the key issue. You raised Nariman's judgment, and that's an important judgment.
Consequence of
no, 1 minute. Nariman's judgment is an important judgment, and I want to focus on that. Kamini Jaiswal, do you believe this will open up Pandora's box, this judgment, as Mr. Owaisi seems to fear it will? Will it lead to a possibility, he even suggests, of a Hindu Rashtra? Is he really creating a fear, unnecessary fear?
No, I think that is stretching it too far. That is stretching it. Hindu Rashtra, let's have another debate on it. That will be something different.
Yes.
But not by this. There is nothing to do. This is something against, it was a crime against humanity.
Right.
Crime against womankind.
That's precisely it.
Women as if they are chattel, as if there are something you can just use and throw. This is, it was such a retrograde practice that I'm so glad this judgment has come. I agree, unless the mindset of men changes, it may not have a very, very positive effect, but it is something for a woman to hang on to. She can fight for her right. She can at least challenge that talaq that's given to her.
Nurjahan Safia,
as being illegal.
Nurjahan Safia, do you have a word today as a petitioner in the case for Mr. Owaisi? What do you want to tell Mr. Owaisi when today he says it's not implementable? Unfortunately, I can't get your voice, ma'am. I'm really, really sorry about this. There is some problem with your voice. Javed Akhtar, in conclusion, what do you want to tell Mr. Owaisi today when he says it will open up Pandora's box?
So be it. If you are doing the right thing and it has some repercussions, face them. Besides that, if this change will turn India into a Hindu Rashtra, then I am afraid most of the Muslim countries, so-called Muslim countries in the world, are Hindu Rashtras, because they have banned this. It is not allowed in Egypt, it is not allowed in Morocco, it is not allowed in so many countries. So they have become Hindu Rashtra. It doesn't hold. Besides
Mr. Owaisi,
it will not happen.
Mr. Owaisi, today you have engaged in fear-mongering.
Why is he worried?
Mr. Owaisi, time to end the fear-mongering. Why not? I'm going to try one last time tonight. Why not today say 3 cheers for the Muslim women?
I want to respond.
3 cheers.
I want to respond.
Yes.
Rajdeep, I want to respond to what Mr. Javed Akhtar has said.
Yes.
Rajdeep, may I know from Mr. Javed Akhtar, who is he to compare me with Muslim countries? Is he following the Savarkar's ideology of saying that Muslims are alien to this country? What the hell have I got to do with the Muslim countries?
Because those countries have banned triple talaq.
Because they are
those countries which have banned triple talaq.
Listen to me.
Yes.
Listen to me. Listen to me.
And they practice
Let me answer. Don't jump on me. I know I'm hurting you. That is what I want to do.
You're not hurting me.
Listen to me. Yeah, forget about Sharia. They don't know about Sharia. Listen to me. Listen to me.
So
you are following an ideology of Savarkar. What have I got to do with Saudi Arabia? Madam, can you allow me to speak?
Yes.
Can you allow me to speak, or you want to go on? I'll keep quiet. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You speak. No,
go ahead, and I'm willing to listen.
No, for once you're willing to listen to women, but I want to listen to you at the conclusion. Are you willing to concede today a day women's voice has been heard? You should be seen on the side of women.
Let me speak. Sorry.
Rajdeep, I take strong exception to what you said just now. Listen to women once. Rajdeep, you must take back your words.
Why?
What do you mean by that? Are you trying to patronize me?
No, I'm saying that.
What do you mean?
I'm saying.
Are you trying to show that it is only you who's better in dealing with women?
I am saying.
How dare you say that?
Mr. Owaisi, don't intimidate me. I am asking you a question. I am not the kind of anchor who tries to intimidate guests. I am asking you a simple question to which you refuse to give an answer.
You are a glorified anchor. Now today,
I am a simple Indian citizen.
I am giving you all the answers. You called me on your program and I am here.
Yes.
You sit there and you sermonize me, you tell me, listen to women. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? See, that is your mindset. You assume any Muslim who has a beard,
please.
He will not treat his woman properly.
Mr. Owaisi, please take your words back. Mr. Owaisi, you take your words back also. I did not say that.
You must take back your words of yours.
No, I said,
don't sit there.
I asked you a question.
You don't sit there and sermonize to me. No, you don't.
I'm not sermonizing, Mr. Owaisi.
I don't need your sermons. I am sick and tired of your patronization. You people have no relevance to the ground. That is what I say.
What is the ground?
You have no relevance
to the ground. What is the ground, Mr. Owaisi? Is the ground that Muslim women can be divorced through an instant talaq? Is that the ground that you want to promote?
What is the empirical data you have?
Even if there is one woman, Mr. Owaisi, why should that woman get legal protection?
Data we have given to, listen to me, listen to me, I have given data to Supreme Court. Not even 0.1% of Muslim women are being divorced to triple talaq. I have given that. Ask the BBMA people, they have given out a survey.
Is that reason not to have a law? Is that a reason not to have a legal architecture to protect those women, even those 0.07 women?
What law are you talking about?
A law which says that the whole concept of triple talaq is...
Please tell me.
The law which today the Supreme Court is saying, the fact that it will be unconstitutional and hopefully now criminalized. That's all. That's all, Mr. Owaisi. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that?
Please go. No, Rajdeep, you have to go and read... No, you have to go and read the Shamimara judgment of 2002. The same thing was said by a 3-member judges bench. I am of the opinion that yes, it is the Muslim society will have to accept and reform. But people sitting over there passing sarcastic comments and trying to patronize us will not bring a change on the ground. You are disconnected with the ground. And you know there are so many Muslim women who will come out tomorrow and say contrary to what you are saying, and you will be surprised and shocked with the number of Muslim women coming out tomorrow.
You want to respond finally to that, Javed Akhtar? You've heard Mr. Owaisi saying, I am disconnected from the ground and therefore...
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, what is your final word to him? Any final... And I don't want to patronize anyone.
Tragic. Do you know, if tomorrow... No, may I speak?
Yes, please do.
If tomorrow some Muslim women come and protest against the ban on triple talaq, that tells you, that will expose what situation they are in, that they are forced to do that. They are brainwashed, or they are pressurized, or they are threatened to do this. Do you think a woman with right mind will like to oppose this? If she opposes, that tells her helpless situation.
Might take an image.
What a tragedy if some women will come out and oppose it. That will expose this further, that they are in such a situation.
I think those are salutary words. I want to leave it there because I think this debate at some stage will then go out of control. It has not been my intention to patronize anyone or to condemn or demonize anyone. I hope, Mr. Owaisi, you will understand that just because you have a beard and a cap, I am not trying to take you on in any way. I was just raising the issue of whether this was a day when one should believe that a step forward has been taken. Thank you all to my panelists for joining me. My take tonight. By striking down instant triple talaq as unconstitutional, a major step has been taken by the Supreme Court to end a socially regressive practice under Islamic Sharia. The message is clear. Freedom of religion under Article 25 is not absolute and will be subject to a right to equality. It should also spark up a wider debate on the need to codify personal laws, to build a consensus for a uniform civil code in which every community is tested under the touchstone of gender justice. The debate cannot be Islamic-centric, but must put citizens first. From Hindu inheritance to Muslim divorce laws, let a new India be built on equality. And remember, legal reform alone isn't enough. Mindsets must change. Till then, 2 or rather should I say 3 cheers to the brave women who stood up to the clergy.